The newsmakers, the stories. Get it all here. News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
KVNU News Time is 5:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. The statewide annual count of Utahns experiencing homelessness will take place on the mornings of January 25th through 27th, 2024. Local communities across Utah need the help of volunteers to survey people early on those mornings, the 25th through the 27th. To find out where they slept on the night of January 24th, providing an in-depth look at homelessness statewide. According to Wayne Niederhauser, state homeless coordinator for Utah, their goal is to get the most accurate count possible, and they rely heavily on the support of volunteers across the state. He said through the dedication of volunteers, they can effectively assess the extent of homelessness among Utahns statewide. The purpose of the point-in-time count is to gain a deeper understanding of how many individuals and families in Utah are experiencing unsheltered homelessness, which includes living on the streets or in cars, RVs, or other places not meant for human habitation. The goal is to count and interview every person in Utah experiencing homelessness. The information gathered will help policymakers set benchmarks to measure progress toward ending homelessness and help plan services and programs to appropriately address local needs. If you'd like to learn more about the point-in-time count in our area and sign up to volunteer, you can go to make that endutahhomelessness.org/point-in-time count. KBNU News Time is 5:05. KBNU weather for tonight. Might not quite be done with the snow tonight. Snow this evening, snow and rain after midnight, accumulation around 1 inch. Overnight low tonight in the mid-20s, and then cloudy, 30% chance of rain and snow in the morning. Partly sunny by afternoon tomorrow, high in the upper 30s. Then cloudy again Thursday night into Friday, but Friday's high around 40 degrees. It's been to 26. It's 23 degrees right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by the Duck Hunter. If you have that stuffy winter smell, give John at the Duck Hunter a call. Your air ducts could be holding on to dust and other surprises. Call 435-770-4813.
The colder weather is here. Are your quilts and blankets looking dingy? Is your winter coat or jacket dirty enough to stand in the corner just by itself? Well, go to Mount Logan Laundry. It'll take no time at all to freshen up everything. They have the 55 and 80-pound washers, the biggest around, and great big dryers, too, and it costs a whole lot less than dry cleaning. Free Wi-Fi and drop-off service. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town on the corner of 5th East, 9th North in Logan, or in Brigham at 1st East, 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry.
KBNU News Time is 5:06. As the state of Utah is preparing to file an application for a death warrant for Ralph Menzies, Menzies and other inmates are proposing new ways to be executed. Menzies was convicted in the 1986 murder of Maureen Hunsaker. He ran out of appeals last year in the case. Both the state and defense attorneys have recently filed notices of appearances in Menzies' criminal case. Meanwhile, Menzies, along with 4 other inmates who were sentenced to death prior to 2004 in Utah, are requesting to file an amended complaint in their lawsuit against the state regarding executions. In the proposed amendment complaint, the inmates argue that current lethal injection and firing squad methods used by the state for execution violate the Utah Constitution and their rights. They ask the court for a permanent injunction preventing the state from executing them. Then they propose 2 alternative methods of execution. The death row prisoners argue that firing squads cause unnecessary or gratuitous pain. They also claim that past prisoners who were executed by firing squads suffered before dying. The inmates then propose new or altered ways to be executed. When it comes to lethal injection, they would like a single dose of sodium thiopental or pentobarbital. They argue that the Utah Department of Corrections is already looking into this method, and that 5 other states have adopted it already, and that it's been approved by the U.S. Supreme Court twice. And leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have announced the open house and dedication dates for the Taylorsville, Utah temple, along with 2 others being completed in Guatemala and Argentina. They also announced the location for another temple in Mexico. According to a press release, the Taylorsville, Utah temple will be open to the public on Saturday, April 13th. The open house will go through May 18th, excluding Sundays. Free tickets to the event will be available in the upcoming months. KVNU News Time is 5:08. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Ever felt judged at the gym?
You don't know how to use the leg curl machine? Are you serious? Is this your first day alive? No, it's okay. I love helping people during their first day on Earth.
At Planet Fitness, get energy without the judgment and join the judgment-free zone. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Get energized today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through Friday, January 19th. See Home Club for details.
Hello, Cache Valley. This is Tom Hale at Blue Sky Restoration, formerly ARS. Remember, got a mess? Call ARS. We want to let you know that here at Blue Sky, we still have the same great staff, we provide the same excellent service, and are ready to help you in your time of need with water mitigation, mold remediation, or a fire. From Blue Sky Restoration, thank you for trusting our staff and myself for over 35 years with your disaster needs, and we will continue to be here for you.
I recently had a meeting with a business owner that had his business insurance with one agent, his auto with another, and work comp with the state. Sounds confusing, right? This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. This individual loved the idea of a one-stop shop and saved hundreds of dollars by putting his insurance policies under one roof. Let Quality First be the one-stop shop for your insurance needs. Give us a call today, 435-752-0101.
Nearly 21 years ago, Cafe Sabor opened their doors at historic Logan train station. With the help of hundreds of amazing employees and patronage of thousands of wonderful customers, Cafe Sabor is proud to have been voted 3 years in a row Cache Valley's favorite Mexican restaurant in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Follow Cafe Sabor on social media for giveaways and promotions. Search Cafe Sabor for a restaurant near you. Thank you, Cache Valley, from your friends at Cafe Sabor.
Bear Lake's Monster Winterfest is January 26th through the 28th. Come on up for 3 days of fun and adventure. It kicks off Friday morning with winter sports at the sinks and lookout areas in Logan Canyon. On Saturday, watch hundreds of brave souls jump into the icy cold waters of Bear Lake for the Monster Plunge and Cardboard Boat Regatta. Warm up with a bowl of chili at the Chili Cook-Off. And don't miss the 5K Run and Cisco Fishing Tournament. Go to BearLakeMonsterWinterfest.com to register. Bear Lake's Monster Winterfest, January 26th through the 28th. Go to BearLake.org for all the details.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aids. Once again, you'll be able to hear a loved one's laughter and understand conversations. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Call 753-4327. That's 753-HEAR. Or visit CacheHearing.com.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. As you heard yesterday on the show, one day, well, two now, but at the time, one day into the legislative session, and Chris Wilson, Senator Chris Wilson from here in Cache Valley, had already passed a bill. That's actually pretty amazing. It was a bill that had been discussed and for more than a year, and everybody knew it was coming, and it was nearly unanimous. One person must have misunderstood what the bill was about and voted against it in committee, so now it needs a debate. So it is interesting, but yeah, I think this is going to be a weird session. Let's put it that way. It was, I think 2 weeks ago that we talked about this from a perspective of tea leaf reading, the legislature. But if you look at how they've approached the issue of growth and housing policy and more for the last couple of years at least, I think it was a safe bet that lawmakers were going to at least discuss taking some decision-making power away from cities. We had an interview with Mike Schultz that made its way into the media a couple of days before the session started. New Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, who basically said he thinks the legislature needs to slow down on this a little bit. That taking zoning authority or decision-making power away from the cities, he said, is maybe not the right way to go to solve a problem. Everyone agrees that there is a bit of a problem. The growth, housing construction, new homes, high-density debates, things like that, have slowed the goal of the legislature. Let's put it this way. The legislature, looking at this statewide and looking at Utah's housing issues, what they're trying to do is avoid a scenario where you have businesses who decide not to locate in Utah, who are thinking about it and decide not to, or worse, you have businesses start to pull up and jump ship, move to other states because they can't keep staffing up, because no one can move here or stay here because of housing prices or lack of housing that's less than an hour and a half from the job site or the office building or whatever it is. Now, that's worst case scenario, and we're not there, and I don't mean to imply that. But the concern at the legislative level is that we could get there. And they realize that there's only so much money. That's what the legislature can do best. Here's one of the best kept secrets. Lawmakers think it's the best kept secret. And also one of the biggest ironies of the Utah legislature is, like the federal government, the most effective thing they can do in most situations is throw money at an issue. And that's not the solution at all times. They like to harp on the federal budget, but Utah has depended on and benefited from federal spending in major ways recently. In fact, the business boom in parts of Utah is a direct relation to the infrastructure bill and other spending bills passed by Congress, and aid packages dating back to the Trump administration that allowed Utah some flexibility. Because we didn't have the money to do some of these things, like build out our broadband networks. That's going to be entirely funded by federal money. Utah lawmakers don't like to talk about that because it takes away one of their favorite things, which is complaining about the federal deficit and spending levels. But it's just a fact of how the House of Cards is set up in the United States. And Utah wouldn't do very well if the federal government, every time I see Mike Lee talking about a balanced budget amendment, which will never happen for a lot of reasons. Every time I see him talking about it, I always want to get him in here and say, what do you really think would happen to Utah if there was a federal balanced budget amendment? If the federal government had to balance its budget every year, and that meant, the times they were just going to cut off spending in order to balance the budget, what do you think would happen to Utah? And I would just love to hear his answer. But that's just the fact of things. Now, some Republicans here in Utah that are consistent in their ideology say that, yes, that's true. We are very dependent on federal money to keep the state running. That's how they keep taxes low. That's how they keep a lot of things that get them reelected every year, or that they campaign on at least to get reelected every year. A lot of those things happen because they lean on federal money to pay for a lot of these other necessities. And consistent Republicans who are consistent in their ideology will say, yes, that's true, and that's why we need to also cut spending here in Utah. The inconsistent elected officials we have will just leave that part out. They'll say, the feds, and they spend too much. Look at the deficit. Look at the budget each year. And then just kind of ignore the fact that Utah's education system is about 35% dependent on federal money. And if you want to start talking about cuts, okay, what? Be specific. That's usually where that conversation falls down. So that using that as my setup there as a foundation. Back to the housing issue, the legislature is looking at this statewide and saying, we could literally see a statewide economic dip or even collapse because of a lack of housing. These things have a tendency to snowball. If word gets around, say, the tech community nationwide that Utah isn't a great place to be located because you can't find employees. You can't find, a lot of these software development companies require a pretty highly educated, or if not highly educated, a highly experienced workforce. And they also are people who know they have a lot of jobs to choose from all over the country, and they're willing to move anywhere. And they also don't want to be on the freeway for 45 minutes in traffic every day going to work. In fact, some of the polling I've seen, they would prefer public transit or walking. And so Utah realizes that, that is the future of the economy there, and at least in part. And housing is going to be a big part of that. Public transit is going to be a big part of that. They realize at the state level, lawmakers do, legislative leaders do, the governor does, that even though the housing issue is talked about like an independent issue, it's very much an economic issue, thinking ahead. And so building houses now is key to at least setting the stage for continued economic prosperity here in Utah. And so that is why the legislature cares about cities and planning commissions and their decisions when it comes to housing proposals. So, for example, this is a hypothetical because the legislature, as far as I know, didn't even pay attention to this one specifically. But I talked about this a couple of days on the show, so I'll use it as an example again. There was a big proposal in Providence. It's still happening. It's just been changed greatly. And it had residents up in arms. Other residents were very much in favor of it. It had, single-family houses. It had townhomes. And one of the issues was that it was going to increase traffic a lot in a certain area that only had a little two-lane road that actually was in another city. And so all the traffic was going to go into River Heights, and River Heights hadn't been brought into the conversation. So their city council members were a little irritated by the approval by Providence of the project. And the whole thing almost went down, and then it didn't. And then it got changed a lot, and some things were still built. That was a couple of years ago. As that was playing out, this was happening hundreds of different times over throughout the Wasatch Front, even in southern Utah. And so the legislature is watching all this, and they're saying to themselves, cities all acting independently, and not all of them on board with the state's guidance that higher density housing needs to be a part of every city's master plan now, yesterday actually. The legislature decides last year and the year before, let's fire some warning shots. Let's take this power away from cities and see if that wakes them up. And then the second year, it was less of a warning shot and more of the legislature almost acting like, we should just take this power from cities because we know what to do. And they obviously don't. And that raised some concern last year in the 2023 session when they saw that happen. And the League of Cities and Towns stepped up and said, whoa, what are you doing? Now this year, here we are in the 2024 legislative session, 2 days in. There's a bill coming. We know this. The language hasn't been made public yet. They're still working on it. And this one might not be made public till halfway through the session because, as I understand, it's a big one. But there's a bill that everyone knows exists that, in short, consolidates some zoning decisions into the state legislature's jurisdiction. To put that another way, there are some zoning decisions right now in the hands of cities that will become a one-size-fits-all state policy if this bill is what it's rumored to be. So that's why it matters to have the Speaker of the House 2 days ago, before the session had actually begun, in an interview, hint at this. And then during his opening remarks yesterday, as the session began, Speaker of the House Mike Schultz, he's new. This is his first set. No, he's not new to the legislature. He's been a lawmaker for years, but he's new to leadership. He's the new Speaker of the House, and he is saying, I think we need to slow down on this one. I think taking decisions away from the cities could mess up their 5 and 10 year plans that we asked them to make 4 years ago when it comes to housing. I think that we're going to make decisions that force cities into a one-size-fits-all kind of environment, which we claim to ideologically be opposed to when the federal government does that to all the states. He said, I also think that we maybe are panicking a little bit too much when it comes to the housing situation. I mean, there's definitely good reason for concern, and he acknowledges that, but he said, maybe we've got a bit more time than we think, and maybe we should start on better footing with cities and say, what can we do to help you achieve these goals that we've set as a legislature, rather than saying, what power can we take from you to make sure that these goals are met? On the flip side of that, you do have some cities that are actively thumbing their nose. One city in Utah actually said, in response to the legislature's decisions last year, one city in Utah actually said, we're not approving any new building permits. Our city's big enough, which is not very realistic at all for any city to say or do. But that's also one city saying, good luck to all the rest of you who are going to have to absorb this. We'll benefit equally from the economic side of things when we do build enough housing and businesses locate here because they can find workers and the life is of a high quality thanks to all this housing. We'll definitely co-benefit with you, but we're not going to assist by building any houses. We're not approving any permits this year. Well, stuff like that is going to get the legislature involved for sure. And I think we might have a couple cities like that here in Cache Valley. What do you think? Should the legislature? Shouldn't the legislature? I can see benefits to the legislature adopting more of a stick rather than the carrots they've tried. I can also see the harm in having the legislature at large make zoning decisions for each and every city when it comes to housing. What do you think? 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
She was there for you on your first day of school and all those special moments since. Now, Mom needs you. When mom or someone you love needs home health or hospice, give them the care they deserve. With core values of character, experience, and trust, see why we have been voted Best of Northern Utah. Contact Aegis today, 435-723-9000, or find us on the web at myaegis.com.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat hopes the new year brings you wonderful opportunities, fresh starts, and of course, better health. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat in the Three Peaks Medical Plaza, North Logan, and Providence is here to help. Cutting-edge techniques, qualified doctors, and friendly staff ensure the highest quality patient care for both adults and children. Most insurance products, including SelectMed, are accepted. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat offer you solutions to ear, nose, and throat symptoms, helping you live the life you deserve.
It's a new year and an opportunity to plan for the future. That's what we're doing here, the Cache Valley Media Group. We're in the middle of a significant upgrade in the technology we use to bring our community the best of local news, weather, sports, music, and entertainment. But in the process of doing that, we may encounter a few bumps in our programming along the way. We assure you, we're aware, and our team is working very hard to make our transition as seamless as possible. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for listening to this radio station. And from all of us at the Cache Valley Media Group, we hope you have a great 2024.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. One listener chiming in here saying that the state absolutely should get cities to fall in line, but going about it by actually taking their power, maybe not the best way, because would the state give it back? A great question, and no. I'm trying to think right now after seeing this comment from a listener. Right now, I might be forgetting one or two. Right now, I can't think of a single time the legislature has divested of power. Over the last 10 years, I've seen our legislature consolidate power greedily from cities, from counties, from quasi-government entities, from private entities in ways. I think our legislature, from the governor's office, from the attorney general's office, basically anyone who has ever wronged or mildly irritated the legislature, the next year they've come back and taken power from that entity. Again, cities, counties, the attorney general's office, the governor's office, quasi-government entities, even private entities and nonprofits. The state legislature has said, ours, our decision. And I don't think that's good. I'm very disappointed in Governor Cox for not using that veto pen a little more. I was very disappointed to hear him say that his goal this session is to veto nothing. I get where he's getting or trying to get with that. What he's saying is hopefully we can work out all differences and improve legislation before it's even heard enough that nothing has to be vetoed. And I get that. I get that being a goal of the governor, and I get that why that would save everyone time and avoid, controversial headlines and everybody's time getting sucked up by those interviews that are required after a controversial headline. I get it. But I think this legislature, still mulling listeners' question, have we ever seen the legislature give power back to the cities after taking it? I don't think so. To me, that's what's so concerning about the legislature sending the signal that they are willing to take up, in some way, take zoning decisions away from independent cities and make them a statewide decision. How do you make zoning policy that fits the current needs of Mendon, Utah, and Logan, Utah at the same time? The legislature can't I think they'd make a bigger mess than they would solve anything. But other than the Speaker of the House, and that might be enough. Speaker of the House is a pretty powerful position. But other than the Speaker of the House, I haven't heard a single lawmaker say, this is a bad idea for the legislature to take up zoning decisions statewide. We'll see. The bill is rumored and confirmed to exist, though no one's seen it yet. As soon as it's public, I'll make sure it's posted on our Facebook page, and we'll be talking about it on the show that day, believe me. If you'd like to weigh in, should the state take zoning decisions away from cities? 753-5868. We'll be back after these headlines with KVN News' Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:31. On the first day of the new legislative session, a Utah lawmaker filed a resolution condemning abusive coaching practices, highlighting the power imbalance between coaches and student athletes. House sponsor, Representative Sahara Hayes, Democrat from Salt Lake, said the resolution aims to ensure dignity for student athletes, even at the public university athletic level. Hayes said she was inspired to file the resolution by allegations at the University of Utah gymnastics program over the summer. The resolution describes some of the abusive behavior as physical, verbal, or emotional, including threats to pull scholarships and encouraging eating disorders. The resolution is intended for public school sports, encouraging Utah schools to penalize abusive coaching practices. Utah's Republican legislative leaders took aim at social media companies on the opening day of the state's 2024 legislative session, pledging to reinforce laws they passed last year to require parental permission for kids to access social media apps. The two laws, signed last March by Republican Governor Spencer Cox, have been hit with multiple lawsuits challenging their constitutionality. They require age verification for anyone in the state who wants to create a social media account, which critics say could compromise users' data security. The laws also set a statewide social media curfew, prohibiting minors from using the apps between 10:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. unless authorized by a parent, and give parents access to their children's accounts. With both laws set to take effect on March 1st, Republicans say they are prioritizing revisions during their annual 45-day work session to ensure that they hold up in court. KBNU News Time is now 5:33.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. The winter weather, which is rolling across the nation, is blamed for at least 28 deaths since Friday, including 3 people in Portland, Oregon, who were killed when a power line fell on their car during an ice storm. In Buffalo, New York, a travel ban with up to 3 feet of additional snow in the forecast.
There could be an inch or two per hour.
Mayor Byron Brown, President Biden and congressional leaders are still trying to come to terms on a spending plan. Republicans demand stronger border security. Democrats want more money for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan.
There was tremendous focus on Ukraine and an understanding that if we don't come to Ukraine's aid, that the consequences for America around the globe would be nothing short of devastating.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, 2 U.S. officials confirmed the U.S. launched new retaliatory strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen in response to a drone attack on a U.S.-flagged ship in the Gulf of Aden. This is ABC News.
KBNU weather for tonight. Winter weather advisory in effect through the overnight hours until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Snow this evening and snow and rain after midnight. Accumulation of snow around 1 inch, low in the mid-20s. And then cloudy, 30% chance of rain and snow in the morning. Partly sunny by afternoon. High temperature, much warmer in the upper 30s. And then mostly cloudy around 40 degrees on Friday. It's been to 26, and right now it's 23 degrees at KBNU. Earn a $20 Visa gift card with purchase of a Napa Legend battery, or a $25 Visa gift card with a AAA Premium battery at your 5 locations of Napa Auto Parts from Preston to Providence. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Experience Barrel and Stave on Federal Avenue, where good food, good drinks, and good people meet, using local ingredients to create the most delicious taste possible. Barrel and Stave is a cozy cocktail bar offering a large selection of wines, whiskeys, and cocktails, along with an amazing selection of bar bites and weekly chef specials guaranteed to tantalize your taste buds. With live music every Wednesday night and Thirsty Thursdays that offer $2 off drafts, come and see what you've been missing. Barrel and Stave, Tuesday through Saturday evenings on Federal Avenue.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Locker 42 is a store for Utah State fans. Many of the items you'll find there are custom, one-of-a-kind, produced by Locker 42. Such production allows for the best possible prices and custom orders that are unheard of at this level, and is one of the highest contributing licensees for royalty sales. Your purchase at Locker 42 is supporting scholarships and student athletes. Hoodies, t-shirts, hats, jackets, everything Aggie is at Locker 42. Locker 42, a store for Aggie fans by Aggie fans.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
Beezer Lock and Key specializes in securing your world with their expertise in locks, keys, and hardware. Every aspect of their services is meticulously tailored to ensure your safety. They offer a vast selection of hardware brands and access control options, along with custom master key systems. With Beezer Lock and Key, you have control of your facility's access 24/7. For 28 years, Beezer has provided top-notch security solutions that stand unmatched in the industry. Visit 4th North, 1st West, and Logan, or go to beezerlock.com to discover more.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Have you, well, now we all see this time of year an increase to our gas bill, right? Our natural gas bill, because we're using the furnace more. The furnace is running more, and that's a good thing, because some of these temperatures we've seen the last couple of nights wouldn't be very pleasant without a working furnace. Speaking of that, if you have issues with your furnace or paying your heat bill, there are programs to help you out, even if it's just for a short period of time or for months. Check with BRAG on that, the Bear River Association of Governments. They have a couple of different programs there for heat assistance and more. So yeah, don't go cold. And BRAG's website has more information. But this was an investigation done here in Utah by Fox 13 into increases in natural gas prices here in Utah that were higher than other states, and that also were higher than what most people expected for the winter months. So of course we're going to see an increase of natural gas use result in a higher bill each month. But some bills here in Utah, Fox 13 reports, were up 65% over the same month last year. And so they got digging into that to see what it is. And they found a couple things. Well, first off, they found that Dominion Energy has filed with the Utah Public Service Commission, who is the government entity in charge of overseeing utility rates, which natural gas is, and things like that, to add at least some level of protection consistency for consumers on something as important as electricity and natural gas. So the Utah Public Service Commission that approves or denies rate requests in Utah, whether it's a rate increase or rate decrease request, has record that Dominion Energy has recently filed a rate decrease request for the state of Utah of $19 million. And if approved by the commission, that rate decrease would go into effect February 1st, and on the next bill, Utahns would see a decrease of about $10 annually when you break that down for each Utah customer. So not a lot. Don't expect your bill to change a lot despite their rate request. The reason for this, though, Dominion Energy says the current rate is because of last winter's market prices. You remember, through the roof. Typically, thanks, Russia. Typically, natural gas can be purchased for $5 per decatherm or less. And the company claims that last year alone, it was 10 times that. Now, we saw a similar thing happen with electricity. In fact, Logan City, for a time, this in 2023, was asking residents to limit their power use, not because of equipment failure or weather that was affecting power lines or anything like that. It was just that market rates for a purchased megawatt were 4 or 5, sometimes 10, 11 times the going average for that time of year. And so Logan City asked residents to, restrict some of their electricity use so that they could avoid having to pay that rate, which would, of course, eventually translate through to every Logan resident's bill each month. And so they asked residents, they said, hey, the market rate is insanely high right now. Could you maybe be a little more conscious of your electricity use for the next day or two, and we could avoid having to buy power and therefore not have to pay this rate. And then when we do have to buy power, hopefully it's come down. They were successful at that, by the way. Residents were able to buy the city the time until that exorbitant market rate price went back down to something closer to normal. Still higher, but not 11 times higher like it was there for a couple of weeks. Same thing happened with natural gas. And world events, Russia, and their invasion of Ukraine play a big part in this. They've also been higher in general since the pandemic. I know it wouldn't seem that natural gas prices would have anything to do with the pandemic, but there were supply chain issues and more that led to repairs and upgrades being delayed. And so it's been a volatile situation for what is normally a sleepy and predictable market and market rate. So Dominion Energy says that the higher prices that residents here in Utah are seeing on their bill, not just higher compared to like their gas bill in July, but a December bill, for example, this year that was higher by a lot in some people's cases, 65% in one case that Fox 13 found after a listener sent them copies of their bill. So a 65% increase in total bill for a Utah natural gas user over between December 2023 and the bill they got in December 2022. And again, Dominion Energy says it was basically the really high market prices last winter, the 22-23 winter, that are still, affecting the market. A Dominion Energy spokesperson here in Utah said everything should eventually balance itself out. The costs will eventually drop, and customers will see it on their bills eventually. But there are skeptics. Some of the people that Fox 13 spoke with, homeowners saying, they've heard this before and they will wait until they see it on their bill. And so pointing out that Dominion Energy is a monopoly and there is not another gas company you can choose from in Utah. So keep an eye on your bill. Dominion Energy, again, saying that the exorbitantly high prices people are seeing this year, December especially, the December bill you got from Dominion Energy, is the reason it's so much higher than the bill you got in December of last year is that last year's gas prices were just nuts, and it's still affecting the market. That could easily be the case. Utah Public Service Commission did not weigh in, Fox 13 says. They asked them to confirm or deny that, and they did not respond. But they did show that Dominion Energy had filed for a rate decrease of $19 million, which means Dominion is planning on their cost decreasing. And $19 million sounds like a lot, but broken down to, divided by every Utah Dominion Energy customer, which is every Utahn using natural gas, Fox 13 says that means about $10 a year decrease. $10 for the entire year decrease that you'll see in 2024. So hopefully everyone's going to see a little more decrease than $10 spread out over the year. And Dominion Energy said that should balance out soon, that we should correct, the market should correct after last year's skyrocket highs. And we'll see. Fingers crossed. But so if you're seeing a bill that surprises you compared to your usual Dominion Energy winter bill, that's the reason why. Dominion Energy says is that rates last year are still affecting the market this year. It's complicated to explain why. A listener asking, how is that even believable? Well, they purchase ahead. It's not. They do similar. Some cities do similar things with power purchases, and so you can buy ahead, paying the current market rate for energy of some kind that's going to be used in a future time. And so the same happens with natural gas. And yeah, so I know it's complicated. It doesn't make sense to me either. But it is a very, very regulated market, and in this case, that's a good thing. So I think it's hopefully Utah, the entities that exist here in Utah that are designed to keep a close eye on this and protect consumers are doing exactly that. Because you don't have a lot of choices, to say the least. So. Lawmakers today, I saw this, and sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I wonder what goes through a certain lawmaker's head at a certain point when they're tackling a problem, and it's fun to see a bill released and an explanation given, and you realize, oh, okay, I get it. In other cases, though, you see a current problem. It's in the headlines a lot, and then a lawmaker sponsors a bill, and sometimes I feel like they just feel like they have to, but should they? Here's one example of this. It was unveiled this morning. It's House Bill 30. It's sponsored by a Republican from the Centerville area, Representative Paul Cutler. And it is dealing with something. The Utah Department of Public Safety said that in 2023, Utah saw an 11% increase in citations and incidents related to overly aggressive driving, road rage-related crashes, and road rage-related violence. Now, this can include everything from citations at more than 100 miles an hour on the freeway or a highway, to people actually punching each other on the side of the street was one of the incidents, to, unfortunately, a crash that led to a fatality because someone was mad at someone else for something they'd done in traffic in front of them. Representative, and you may have seen these PSAs that are running. I happened to catch one. It was on a YouTube clip I was watching. There was a PSA that the state of Utah is running that basically said, a moment of rage could cost you your livelihood, your life, your family. And that could come in, you're driving a car with your family in it and you're driving aggressively, or you're mad at another driver, so you're practicing and experiencing some road rage, which can lead to you making a really dumb decision and causing a crash that could harm your entire family in the car with you, to losing your family by going to prison for murder, for homicide. These things have all happened in Utah. So the PSA is basically saying this is why everyone needs to just take a breath. Is it really worth getting worked up about? Are you really going to save that much time driving that way? Are you really needing to sit? I mean, because let's be fair, we should talk to the road rage inducers too. Do you need to be sitting in that left lane for a left-hand turn you're going to be making in 1.5 miles? Maybe you could be in the right lane a little bit longer. Get over just before you make your turn. I know people aren't great at letting you in here in Utah, but I've seen people drive an entire length. I saw it, leaving Logan just a few nights ago, headed south. Someone at the Macy's area in the left lane, slowing traffic in the left lane, car after car after car passing them on the right. You know where they turned left finally? Canyon Road.
Oh, boy.
Which is like the end of Millville, where Millville meets Hiram. They stayed in the left lane from from Logan, South Logan to Millville and Hiram border because they were going to be making a left turn eventually.
It's like this is my lane, and see, it has my name on it. You can see it in the cement here.
I swear, a few people. I give them the benefit of the doubt. I really think a lot of people sit in that left lane because eventually they're going to be making a left turn. But you don't need to be in the left lane that long to make a left turn. Get over before the turn. If someone doesn't let you in, put your signal on, and someone will be nice eventually. You can also practice the put your signal on and start going a little bit over, and they'll have to let you in. But either way, you're probably going to slow traffic less than driving too slow in that inside lane where people in a bigger hurry are especially this person was going under the speed limit. So we need to consider that, too, in all this. The people who are inducing road rage play a role in this, too. Road rage isn't an adult response. It's an immature response. It's a failure on all of our parts. I've experienced it, too. It's a failure on our parts to control ourselves and to keep things in perspective. I guarantee you very, very few things ever have happened on the freeways or on the highways to induce or to justify the amount of rage that some people have displayed that has made it into news stories or that we've all individually experienced. Is it really that big of a deal just to let it go? I mean, yeah, sure. He's a jerk for doing what he did. Let him go on about his day. You go on about yours. Is that really so hard? And again, I'm not as good at this as I should be. One of the very childish things that I do is if I'm going the speed limit and someone starts tailgating me at an unsafe... Now, the sheriff's deputy did this to me a little while ago, and I'm still angry about it. And if I'd happened to have been able to find out which one, man, would I have made a stink here on the show. But I was on a snow-covered road. I was going exactly the speed limit in four-wheel drive, but I wasn't willing to go any faster. And a truck was way too close to me. Way too close. If I'd had to hit my brakes, he wouldn't have been able to stop on the slick roads. And so I slowed down. That's a childish thing I do. I didn't have the option to pull over. I will do that if someone's driving like a jerk, mainly because I'd rather let them think they won than have to deal with my insurance company when they hit me. So I will get off the side of the road and let somebody pass if they're driving like a jerk. But this is a situation I couldn't. The roads, they just plowed that center lane, and the side of the road was 2 feet of unplowed snow, and I wasn't going to risk getting stuck when I'm going the speed limit. And as he continued to tailgate me, I actually slowed down. I slowed down to 30. I finally slowed down to 25 because my thinking is, well, he's going to hit me. If I have to tap my brakes for somebody or something, I'd rather it be lower speed.
Yeah.
So I slowed down to 25, and man, was he angry. And then when I finally got to my turn and saw it was a sheriff's deputy, oh, was I mad. I almost, that was a road rage moment for me. I thought, that's it. I'm going around the block, and I am following this guy and getting a license plate number. And then I thought, who cares? Let it go. Dumb decision by a sheriff's deputy, but let it go. We could all do that. We all have that option, and we should probably all do it more. Representative Paul Cutler, and again, I'm not defending myself. I have slowed down just to be a jerk when someone else has been a jerk first. That's immature of me, and I admit it. So I'm confessing myself that I've risked inducing someone else's road rage. My uncle used to do this thing. When someone's angry at you and just mad, and they drive past, they're giving you certain hand signals, you know what it means, and they're just angry at you, you just wave and smile. Just waving, and it throws. They don't know why you're waving and smiling. You wave like, oh, hey, they must know me. Hi, good to see you. Trust me, it works.
Does it lighten their mood?
I don't know if it lightens their mood, but it doesn't increase your heart rate. And you continue on about your day and forget about that incident. And we should all do that more. So,
I've learned to do that in the last few years.
It's easier said than done, right?
With road stuff, I just kind of shake my head and let it go. And
I learned, it's a cliche thing, but it's true. I learned this driving. I commuted to Ogden every day for 4 years, and on the freeway. And let me tell you, I watched people zigzag pass on the right, jerking in and out of lanes. You'll get there literally the same time, just picking a lane, going the speed limit, and minding your business. Because I would pull up to them at the lights after the freeway exit almost every time, and I'd almost want to wave, like, hi. Your drive was far more stressful than me. Final note here on this. Representative Paul Cutler is sponsoring House Bill 30, which will define road rage more specifically in state law and increase the penalties from Class B reckless driving to a Class A offense, which can come with some prison or with some jail time. We'll be back right after this.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Elements has delicious lunch specials. Soup, salad, and bread for just $10 is tasty and quick. Elements lunch menu is full of scrumptious items. Wood-fired pizzas are an excellent choice that include barbecue chicken and the bee's knees. The fresh battered halibut fish and chips with seasoned fries is always a hit. And don't forget the fan favorite, Chipotle fried chicken sandwich. Thursdays, enjoy Elements house-made smoked brisket. Casual or professional. Open Monday through Thursday, 11:30 to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11:30 to 9. Visit theelementsrestaurant.com for reservations.
Adams Wealth Advisors tailors your future with expert in-house help. You need a CPA? No problem. Legal help? They can do that. And of course, certified financial planners with years of experience watching over every move.
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit AdamsWealthAdvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today.
Do you have a fireplace or stove that isn't working right? Don't wait until winter to get it fixed. Get ahead of the game and get your fireplace or stove serviced now by the best of Northern Utah winter, Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They service everything from Quadra-Fire pellet stoves to heat and glow fireplaces. Get a 20% discount on your next service and labor when you mention this ad. Call 752-7272 or go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can count on a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace to keep you warm inside. York furnaces provide consistent comfort throughout your home. York furnaces are protected by the strongest warranties available. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272 to schedule a free evaluation of your system. Advanced Heating will help you save up to 50% in energy costs this season. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
KVNU.